Hi, dear friends and subscribers. Welcome to Cricket Happenings. The Australia-South Africa game has ended in a victory to Australia by 2 wickets. Now, that was something which was 168 runs were required and 7 wickets were left. This match initially didn't start on time. It only started at 1 o'clock due to rain. And after that, the story of the day went like this. But it was a real thrilling game. It went to the wire. It looked like either it could be Australia winning it or South Africa winning it. But what was the key was Brad Haddin hitting form at the right moment and combining into a very, very good. According to me, that was the turning point. From 215, it was a 72-run partnership between Brad Haddin, who, as you know, has been in the horrors as far as form is concerned. But what he did today is very, very something that Australia will be very happy about, and Haddin himself would be happy about it because he ran into form at the right moment, and that enabled Australia to win. And Mitchell Johnson kept his cool. He had the tailenders for company, and Patrick Cummins on his debut also gave some good company to Mitchell Johnson and took them through. And Patrick Cummins was named man of the match. Now, let me just talk to you about what really happened. As I said, it was rain at the Wanderers in Johannesburg. Play didn't start on time. Play started at 1 o'clock with Michael Clarke and Ponting in the middle. And Michael Clarke was dismissed very early today. Just 4 runs. When the score reached 145, Michael Clarke was the first to go, as he was one of the stumps was just hit by Philander, and Michael Clarke was gone for 2. So that was the first wicket to go. It was 145 for Australia, and Ricky Ponting couldn't contribute much today. He ended up hitting a catch into the slips of the bowling of Markle for 62 with 6 fours, and that made South Africa were really into it because Michael Hussey was the key there, and Brad Haddin joined him. Well, Michael Hussey initially was not really confident. Brad Haddin, as you know, has been struggling. He also was not looking confident, so it looked like the match could go South Africa's way. 165 for 5, the half the side dismissed, but this was another good partnership which came from 165 for 5, thanks to Brad Haddin giving company to Hussey. The partnership started slowly blossoming, and it took the score to 215. So it was a 50-run partnership, very valuable partnership in that, with Michael Hussey and Brad Haddin really taking them on, and Brad Haddin also hitting some good strokes in between. But Philander, the man who took a 5 wicket haul, and he was also the man of the series here, came in and struck 2 deadly blows. In fact, he first struck, he actually had the very important wicket of Michael Hussey when Michael Hussey was LBW bowled Philander for 39 with 3 fours, and then it was left with Brad Haddin and Johnson. And once Johnson came in, Brad Haddin also grew in confidence, and we saw Brad Haddin playing his signature strokes. The way he hits, he likes to play the game very aggressively. He started going over the top. He was hitting beautifully and straight. So that would be something which Brad Haddin would be proud about because, as I said, it's a very timely form that Haddin came in, and Mitchell Johnson also combined. Mitchell Johnson showed his all-round prowess. As you know, he likes the South African attack. He stayed there with Brad Haddin, and also Mitchell Johnson, if you see before tea, in fact Mitchell Johnson was struggling because Imran Tahir was turning the ball and Mitchell Johnson was really searching for the ball. So that made the equation very interesting. The final session was absolutely interesting. It couldn't be more engrossing than this, and people say that test matches are actually losing its luster. Well, I don't really agree with it. There you have another test series which has been squared by Australia. What an interesting series it was. As you know what happened in the first test, and then we came on to the second test here, and Australia squared the series. Now, just looking at it, I would rather say that the crowds have to come and watch the classical form of the game, the Test cricket game. And Test cricket game is not dying, my friends and subscribers. It's really taking over, I would say. Now, Brad Haddin. Now, this is another pointer for everybody, for all the fans, to see that how Test cricket can be as interesting as this. And let me tell you, those who are not there in the final session of the Wanderers Johannesburg really mixed some action. As I said, Mitchell Johnson was struggling before the tea interval, but after tea, Mitchell Johnson and Brad Haddin were in the middle. And as I said, this partnership was a very real key for Australia winning this match because Brad Haddin hit his form. Mitchell Johnson was playing with a very cool head. He was also hitting some strokes. As you know, Mitchell Johnson likes to hit the ball, and that's what he did. He stroked the ball beautifully, and Brad Haddin and Johnson went on to take the score on to 287. And that is the time Philander once again, as you know, he's the man who always has been giving the breakthrough, always striking hard, and this time he actually dismissed Brad Haddin, who was caught by Boucher with a beautiful delivery, which just moved in the shade, and Boucher behind the stumps did the rest, and he was walking for 55 with 7 fours. So that made the score 287 for 7. And Peter Siddle came in, and immediately struck a beautiful boundary of the bowling of Steen. Just, it was whipped down the leg side of the bowling of Steen, and Peter Siddle hit a 4, and that would have really warmed the cockles of the Australian fans there. But Peter Siddle was a victim there, as this time Steen bowled a slower ball. Peter Siddle tried to loft him. Imran Tahir took a catch. He holed out to Steen, to Imran Tahir of the bowling of Steen. He was gone for 4, and that made it 292 for 8. And if you look at the equation, they still had around 18 runs to get, with Mitchell Johnson still there. Patrick Cummins, well, I would say he was living dangerously. Dale Steyn was bowling. He was trying to flash at it hard. And as you know, Patrick Cummins was making his debut 18, so there was a psychological pressure on Patrick Cummins. But Patrick Cummins stood the test very well. Mitchell Johnson then slowly guided his partner through, and one catch was dropped. Actually Peter Cummins drove Dale Steyn, and Dale Steyn dropped a catch of his own bowling. Yes, the ball was on not to his natural hand, it was an unnatural hand to his left side, and he dropped it. And well, after that there was some pressure. Imran Tahir was brought on by Graham Smith, probably in the intention that probably the batsman will go over the top and they would probably hole out. But Patrick Cummins set everything to rest by actually hitting a sweet stroke through the offside into the fence, and Patrick Cummins was not out on 13 when the victory came off 15 balls with 2 fours. And Mitchell Johnson with a cool head played there, not out on 40 or 47 balls, 6 fours. A very important innings for Mitchell Johnson under the circumstances. 310 for 5, 310 for 8. Australia winning the match by 2 wickets and squaring the series here in South Africa. The bowling figures: Vernon Philander was man of the series there, 20 overs, 3 men, 70 runs and 5 wickets. And I think Vernon Philander has probably cemented his place into the South African team now. Dale Steyn, 23 overs, 1 made and 1 for 98. I thought he could have bowled much better than that. Mon Markle, 19 overs, 6 made and 1 for 43, bowled well. Imran Tahir, 15.5 overs, no maiden, 1 for 63. Jack Scalise, 9 overs, 1 maiden, none for 28. And the 18-year-old debutant, for getting 7 wickets in the series and a match haul of 7 wickets and 6 wickets for 79 on his debut, was named man of the match rightly. He had a grin on his face when he was taking the interview. And what a guy, Patrick Cummins, what a debut for him. 6 for 79. Then he was in the thick of things there. He had to get Australia to the finishing line, and he did it. And so really congratulations to Patrick Cummins. And Patrick Cummins is also has already made sure that he is going to stay in this Australian team. On a debut, if anyone takes 6 wickets, it is a wonderful performance. He bowled at lively pace. The batsmen were really shaken as far as South Africa were concerned. So Australia now has not only squared the series, they have done well in the series so far. They took the one-day series, they squared the T20 series. So basically Australia have done well, but it was a very, very evenly contested series. Both the teams were not giving an inch, and it was a really, really well contested series as far as Test cricket is concerned. Now tomorrow India take on West Indies in the final test to see whether they can make a whitewash. But what would be very interesting at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai in the third test match would be whether Sachin Tendulkar on his home ground can get to his 100th century of his career, which has been eluding him so far. And if he does that, not only the Mumbai fans would be happy, and not only the Indian fans or the world cricket fans would be happy, but Tendulkar himself, as you know, if he could get it on his home ground, it could be a fitting finale, according to me, if he could get his 100th century. And I wish the best of luck to Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar to get his 100th century of his career tomorrow against the West Indies, and make it a day to be remembered for him. At least I would say, not a day, probably I would say it depends who is going to play tomorrow, but at least one could say that he will remember this test for quite a long time. So, well, on this note, I will have to wind up my cricket happening show for today. But what a game of test cricket we had here at the Bull Ring at the Wanderers in Johannesburg, where Australia squaring the series by winning, by hitting a target which has never been done before. 310 they made to win this match by 2 wickets. And Australia, congratulations to Australia for doing that. And well, as I said, Test cricket can't have a better spectacle than what happened today at the Bull Ring at the Wanderers in Johannesburg. And hope Test matches really continue to continue to entertain friends, everybody in this manner. And Test cricket always stays. Thanks for watching Cricket Happenings, and thanks for listening to my comments on Cricket Happenings. Your host Ram signing off for the day. Thank you.